Hello guys. Yes, the president announced day before yesterday that he has decided to forgive $10,000 to $20,000 worth of student loans for some people. I have gotten a lot of questions about that. What do I think? It makes me absolutely livid. I made the choice to not go to college and not have student loan debt. And now I'm going to have student loan debt and it's not even mine. This student loan debt is not being paid off. It is just being transferred. So it's not actually going away. And even if you're able to get the student loans, you're still going to be paying for it through the stupidity tax that you're going to be getting with higher taxes. Do I think that this is going to actually happen? Well, first of all, I find it really hard to believe that this is actually going to go through. This is nothing but political manipulation. There's absolutely no coincidence in the fact that the November midterm elections here in the United States are just weeks away. And then all of a sudden, the president decides to go ahead and forgive, supposedly, thousands of dollars of student loans for these people. Spending billions of dollars to forgive student loans is not going to make up for the fact that this is the worst economy since the 1970s. It's like putting perfume on a pig. It's not going to work. As a matter of fact, I think it might just backfire because honestly, I think it's going to get even more people riled up that they paid off their student loans, or they chose to be self-employed and start a business, or they chose to go to trade school instead of spending thousands of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars going to college for a degree that may or may not even be worth getting or even be worth the pay. Teachers, social workers, all those art degrees are perfect examples of this. So I think it is flat out wrong for the government to be paying off some people's student loans and not others, especially when they're still giving out loans. Now, here's the second part to this that I have not heard anybody talk about. No one has talked about this, and it is who is to blame for this. I already know I'm going to get a lot of backlash for this, but I'm going to tell you who I blame for this whole college mess. Are you ready? Parents. I'm sorry, but I put the blame 100% on the parents for this whole student loan mess, for the price of colleges, all of it. Why? Because parents, you are the ones who should be teaching your kids financial responsibility in the first place. If your child is smart enough to make it into college, your child should be smart enough to know that they don't have to go into debt for 10, 20, 30, or even 40 years, like my chiropractor told me, and especially college degrees that do not pay. You would not believe the number of people who email me all the time, and they are earning less than $30 an hour after they have gone to college. A lot of them, $15, $16, $17 an hour. That's absolutely ridiculous. You should not spend 4 years in college and then get out and earn $15, $16, $17 an hour. So one of the reasons why I blame the parents is they're not teaching their kids financial responsibility in the first place. Next, I also blame the parents for sending kids to these fancy colleges. We went to one college in Colorado, and I am not exaggerating. The cafeteria was absolutely ridiculous. There was somewhere like 10 or 12, I can't remember the exact number, it's been several years. There was 10 or 12 different bars for the kids to eat out. There was a dessert bar, there was a drink bar, there was a Chinese bar, taco bar, barbecue bar, vegan bar, hamburger bar, taco bar. It was ridiculous. It was like a resort. There is no reason for colleges to be this fancy. But you know what? Parents keep paying to send their kids to these colleges that keep raising their prices. If every single person dropped college for 1 year in protest to the costs that are associated with college, I guarantee you those colleges would lower their rates just like that. If those parents would refuse to send their kids to stupid college classes where they don't know if a woman is a woman, or Chicano politics is what's needed to graduate from college. Are you kidding me? There is nothing wrong with studying different cultures. That's totally fine. But when it's a requirement for a class for graduation that has nothing to do with your degree, and it's just a bunch of fluff to get the college more money, I guarantee you, if people would stand up and say, no, we're not doing this, especially the parents, all those parents who are paying for their kids' college, you are the problem. I'm sorry. I know I'm going to get a lot of hate mail on this, but that is why every one of my kids, they are paying for their own college. And if they don't want a whole bunch of student loans, then they are going to have to figure out how to get better grades in high school so they can get scholarships. They're going to have to go to trade school or start their own business instead. If they do want to go to college, then maybe they need to take AP courses in high school so they can test out of some of the college credits. The parents should be sending their kids to community college to start with first, instead of the experience of going to a 4-year college, sending kids to prestigious colleges when they can't afford it, sending kids to college out of town when they can't afford it. Parents, you are the problem. The other way the parents are to blame is by indoctrinating their kids and letting the schools indoctrinate their kids to believe that college is the only way you're going to be able to make good money. That is a lie straight from the pit of hell. I'm sorry, but it is. It's a lie that schools and parents use to enslave kids for decades to their debt. Decades. And I find it absolutely appalling that any parent would do this to their child. It's absolutely appalling. And I'm sorry, but parents, by the time you're 40, 45 years old, 50 years old, you should have figured this out by now. I can list person after person after person after person that I know personally, and Mike is a perfect example of this, where they went to college because that was the thing that they were supposed to do, got their college degree, and now, 20 years later, they're not even using that college degree, and they're making 10 times the amount of money they ever could have thought of with using their degree. Or people who didn't go to college, and they are plumbers, and they're electricians, or they have their own business, and they're making 3, 4, 5 times the amount of their counterparts who spent 4 years in college, tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars on that college degree, and now they're out earning $50,000, $60,000 a year. It is absolutely ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But it all falls on the parents' shoulders for putting up with this baloney. It really does. Next, do I think it's wrong for people to take the $10,000 or $20,000 if this thing actually goes through? First of all, I am very skeptical that it's even going to go through in the first place. The president can't just bring money out of thin air. Now, Congress might be able to pass something between now and November to try and get this thing to go through. But if they do, I can almost guarantee you it's going to end up in the Supreme Court, and it probably will get knocked down anyway. If the Republicans get in November, they'll probably overturn it. I just can't believe that between now and January that the government has it together enough that by January they're going to be able to get this in place and going before the new Senate and House of Representatives gets in. I don't know. I find that really hard to believe. I could be totally wrong. This thing could go through. I was wrong once, I think. It's a joke. I could be totally wrong, but I just find it really hard to believe that this thing is actually going to make it through. Next, do I think it's morally wrong to take the money if you qualify for it? No. I mean, I say more power to you. Go ahead and take it and use it to pay off your debt. and stop going deeper into debt. Use it as a tool to get yourself out of debt so that you can stay out of debt. So I have no problem. I'm not going to criticize anybody if they decide to take it. I mean, I would if I was in that position. I do think that it's just absolutely disgusting for those people who have worked their tails off to pay off their student loans. And now all these other people are being given this money so that a group of politicians can be politically manipulating people. Okay, I mean, what are you going to do about that? Well, I think it's awful, but you know, sometimes you just can't do anything about it. So for those of you who are upset because you've worked your tail off and you were responsible and paid off your student loans, I'm sorry. This is a moment where you're just going to have to learn to forgive and move on, because you're not going to be able to hold a grudge against the president for doing this for other people and not you. You're just going to have to let it go and move on. Government is not fair. Taxes are not fair. That's just life sometimes. And honestly, you're just going to have to accept it. And I wouldn't criticize anyone who does take advantage of this if it becomes available. Guys, please go watch my next video right here. Visit us at livingonadime.com.